Chapter 851. Good luck. After a pro player retired, the pro player would often be recruited into an internal section of the club. Oftentimes, these opportunities would be given to hard-working and loyal individuals, or someone very competent at that sort of work. Wu Chen originally had these sorts of hopes for his future. He had sincere feelings for Team Everlasting and hoped to never leave or abandon it, but now everything turned to nothing. Everlasting was on the brink of disappearing. What work opportunities could there be? Wu Chen's last stand was no longer only a part of his duties as the team captain. As a pro player, if he chose to leave at this moment, the team wouldn't object to it either. However, where would he leave to? Wu Chen was at a loss and didn't want to think about it. Now, Yi Shu had given him a choice. The guild. Wu Chen obviously understood that although the guild was established inside the game along with other player-founded guilds, it was an important foundation for a team to be successful. Those in charge of the guild were definitely a core part of the club's management. Their importance was no lower than any other manager in the club. But truthfully speaking, Wu Chen had hoped to continue developing alongside Team Everlasting. If he had to switch to a different team, he wouldn't be as interested. He was used to relating all of his experiences in Glory to Everlasting. But he could no longer relate those two together anymore. This was the cruel reality of things. He had to seriously consider this choice. In comparison, if he could continue in the pro scene to fill up his desire for glory, that would still be his top priority. However, Wu Chen was only a small character in the scene. The top pro teams most likely wouldn't give him this kind of opportunity. Only a new team like Happy would consider it. But Happy was the main culprit for Everlasting disbanding. Even though Wu Chen was a rational person, he found it difficult to accept suddenly going over to serve Happy. Just when he was about to refuse, another message in his chat window popped up. Building up a team from nothing together is a very good feeling. Wu Chen's heart suddenly began to thump. Not long ago, Team Everlasting had been like this, starting from nothing, establishing players and characters bit by bit. Even though their win record had always been pitiful, they had never given up. Even though they failed in the end, those memories were still as beautiful to him as ever. He was kind of looking forward to it. Wu Chen was moved. He understood that another similar opportunity wouldn't come easy with his age and reputation. He just happened to have chanced upon one. If not, as a nobody, no one would think of him. Think about it, Wu Chen hadn't replied yet. The other side didn't press him or ask if he was still there and simply left this message there. I will, Wu Chen finally replied. The other side sent a bye-bye emoji and then left. Wu Chen began thinking about his future. After Everlasting completed the trade with Happy, Heavenly Swords joined in and their negotiations began. These were the negotiations that Team Everlasting had been hoping for. Everlasting's boss personally went out to battle. All of the employees were working together on this issue. Day by day passed. Team Everlasting and Team Heavenly Swords had finally reached an agreement. Heavenly Swords did not completely buy out all of Everlasting, but for 10 million RMB, they bought around 50% of their goods, which made Everlasting feel quite satisfied. Compared to the normal market, it was indeed on the lower side. However, their disbanded team had to sell everything off for cheap. Being able to sell so much for 10 million RMB was already quite satisfactory. Everlasting wasn't some brand name. For a powerhouse team, let alone the resources, it would be hard to say if that amount could even buy a player on the team. That was the brand name effect. Once the trade with Heavenly Swords was complete, the large stone in Everlasting's heart had finally dissolved. For the rest of their resources, they wouldn't argue and began taking the initiative to sell them to other places. The termination of the internal employees of the club had begun as well. Employee after employee left. Pro player after pro player left too. In the end, only Wu Chen remained. Everlasting's boss personally handled his termination. The grand strategy meeting room was empty. Only the boss remained. When Wu Chen entered the room, he saw the boss staring in a daze in front of the projector screen. His head was raised, looking up at the emblem of Team Everlasting hanging on the wall. Wu Chen didn't say anything. He quietly walked over. The boss sensed his arrival and didn't give any polite greetings. The two were already good friends. Don't you think this team emblem is a bit crooked? The boss didn't turn his head and spoke to Wu Chen. How could that be? It's been fastened tightly. It can't be moved. Wu Chen didn't even look and replied. When their team moved here, he had personally put up the team emblem, so he couldn't be any clearer about it. Oh, really? The boss heard his reply and looked at it from a tilted angle. Then I guess my eyes are just bad. Wu Chen didn't reply. The boss turned around and walked towards the table. He asked, "What plans do you have for the future?" "I'm still not sure." Wu Chen asked. "Me? If another chance comes, I still want to form another team," the boss said. "Would you still call it everlasting?" Wu Chen smiled. "Of course," the boss said. "Then you will have to remember to leave a spot for me," Wu Chen said. "Certainly." The boss also smiled. Team Everlasting's history wasn't long, but it had gone through numerous changes. The only things that never changed was their team's name, their team's emblem, and their most loyal member, Wu Chen. "I'm just afraid that when the time comes, I won't be able to play competitively anymore," Wu Chen said. "Don't worry. The team doesn't only need pro players. With your capabilities, you can contribute to the team in many other ways," the boss said. Wu Chen replied pensively. The boss noticed his expression and suddenly guessed, "Did a team already invite you to do something like that?" "Yes," Wu Chen nodded his head. He didn't need to hide the truth any longer. "What do they want you to do?" the boss asked. "Probably guild-related matters," Wu Chen said. "Go then. It fits you well," the boss nodded his head in affirmation. He obviously knew of Wu Chen's talent in this area. If he hadn't respected Wu Chen's decision, he would have been the club manager. "It's Happy who invited me," Wu Chen forced a smile. The boss's smile froze. He clearly hadn't expected that response. His brows wrinkled. "Happy, that's not too good. They're a Challenger League team, but this season, there's excellent era. If they fail to make it out, would their team be able to continue? I feel like you should clear this up first." The boss only discussed matters with Wu Chen from Happy's future prospects, but he didn't mention anything about what Happy meant to their everlasting. Wu Chen instantly understood his boss's attitude. Although what he said was clear, what he didn't say was equivalent to telling Wu Chen, "You don't need to care about anything else." "Okay, I'll think about it." Well, Wu Chen smiled. "Then that's good." Everlasting's boss nodded his head and smiled back. He understood that Wu Chen had realized his intentions. "The team's matters have pretty much been settled." Everlasting's boss switched the subject and began talking about his current situation. "The current offers that we've received will just be that. Negotiating any further would be pointless. The amount of time and effort needed wouldn't be worth it, so I think that if there's anything remaining, you can take them." "Me?" Wu Chen was surprised. "Find a good team and do a good job." Everlasting's boss patted Wu Chen's shoulders. At this instant, Wu Chen understood again. The boss's words about establishing another team one day had just been talk. His final gift was to have Wu Chen bear the weight of Everlasting's final belongings and continue on in the glory scene. "I'm leaving everything to you." Everlasting's boss extended his hands. Wu Chen reached out and grabbed his hands. The boss shook it firmly and nodded his head. "I have some things that I need to do still, so I'll be going. The things are over there. Good luck." The boss left. Wu Chen went over to look at the items on the meeting room table. Apart from the papers involved in every player's termination, there were 2 fine card cases. Each of the cases had a word carved into them. One had an "ever," while the other had a "lasting." When he opened the 2 card cases, they were filled with account cards. The card on top was one he recognized. It was the one he had used for all these years, which he had returned to the club a few days ago. Launcher, Dawn Rifle. As for the other account cards, besides the pro characters that had been sold off, the remaining were all from the guild. With the team gone, the guild's existence was meaningless as well. "Is this my only choice?" He watched as the boss left. The door was left half open. Wu Chen looked at the team emblem that hung on the wall over there and gave one last sigh. 2 days later. City H, Happy Internet Cafe. Wu Chen carried his luggage in one hand. On the other hand, he had a piece of paper. He looked at it carefully one more time and after confirming that it was the correct address, he walked in. The Internet Cafe was bustling with noise and unusually busy. After Team Happy beat Team Everlasting and made it onto the esports home, Happy Internet Cafe's business instantly exploded. And this time, the new customers weren't face slappers or anything. They were truly curious about Team Happy and looked forward to their future. With a new atmosphere in the Internet Cafe, Chen Guo often strolled around happily. With her personality, she was able to instantly form a tight group with customers who looked forward to Happy's future prospects. Che Guo was currently at the front desk checking this month's business records. She was happy at the team's outstanding record. She was also happy at the internet cafe's booming business. While she was in high spirits, she heard someone speak to her. "Is this where Team Happy is? I'm Wu Chen. I said that I would be coming today." Chapter 852. Let's grow stronger together. When Chen Guo heard, she lifted her head. Both were stunned, as this was not the first time they had met. When Wu Chen came with Heian to visit Happy last time, Chen Guo received the visitors along with Yi Shu. "Hello," Chen Guo nodded as she greeted Wu Chen. As the boss, she obviously knew that Wu Chen would come and join them today. Thanks to Chen Guo's fast and furious way in completing her job, Wu Chen was soon introduced to everyone. "This is Wu Chen, the one we fought before, the former captain of Team Everlasting." Chen Guo introduced to everyone. Recently, Wu Chen was constantly in contact with Yi Shu online, but for other people, it was kind of something in the past. Now that the third match in the Challenger League finished, Team Happy was able to eliminate a normal players team with ease. Happy was able to attract even more people's interest in them. Furthermore, the weekly news for esports had reported a word or two about them twice in a row after their match. The treatment was comparable to excellent era. "Hi everyone," Wu Chen greeted the people, who stood up from behind their computers. Apart from Yi Shu, he didn't recognize any of them. Wu Chen was trying to mentally work out who was who. Of course, Wei Chen was the one whom he determined his identity at first glance. After all, his abnormal and outstanding age seemed marginal and extreme among the group, so his identity was confirmed. As for the others, Wu Chen wasn't able to grasp accurately. But before he could ask, Yi Shu took the lead in applauding while shouting, "Everyone, let's welcome him." Clap 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 clap. Everyone responded, and the applause was quite warming, but because of this, Mo Fan, who didn't clap, seemed like an outsider. Even though Wu Chen wasn't the type to be bothered by this kind of thing, he couldn't help but take notice of this guy. But that guy wasn't even looking at him. He could use his computer without guilt even when he was left out and everyone else was clapping. "Welcome, Comrade Wu Chen," Yi Shu came up to wave at Wu Chen. God Yi Chu, Wu Chen was in between tears and laughter. He had constantly been in contact with Lord Grimm on QQ for the past few days. At the start, he couldn't be sure, but now, he could be certain that this person was Yi Chu. But if this guy was Yi Chu, then who was controlling Lord Grimm in the competition? If it was still him, then he would be breaking the rules. Then Team Everlasting shouldn't be eliminated. But Yi Shu already gave him an answer in the next second. I'm called Yi Shu here." Yi Shu? Wu Chen was at loss. "It's a long story. I'm explaining this because I don't want you to think that I substituted in to play Lord Grimm. In fact, I'm the one who registered for Lord Grimm, but I'm not actually Yi Chu. Do you understand now?" Yi Shu said. "I don't understand at all." Wu Chen's tone was unusually certain. "You will understand sooner or later, let's not talk about it for now. How about introducing you to everybody first?" Yi Shu said. "How about telling me first? This is Wei Chen, the former captain of Team Blue Rain many years ago. You might have heard of him. He's currently using the Warlock Windward formation," Yi Shu said. "It's an honor to meet you." Hey, Wu Chen was deeply troubled. He didn't want to be impolite when he was introduced to someone, but on the other hand, he wanted to return to the previous topic. "This is Tang Ru. She's soft mist." Yi Shu seemed as if he didn't hear the three Heys at all. "Hello." Wu Chen couldn't help but divide part of his attention when he was before a beauty. Before he could continue to struggle with that question, Yi Shu had already moved on to the next person. "This is Bao Rongxing, we all call him Steamed Bun. He's Steamed Bun Invasion." "You beat me before," Steamed Bun said magnanimously. This immediately caused Wu Chen to think that this guy took the matter to heart, so he felt the need to say something. There's always wins and losses in a competition. "This is Chao Yifan, 1-inch Ash." Yi Shu already moved on to the next person. "Hello." Chao Yifan was very polite. "Hello." Wu Chen looked at Chao Yifan. Was this the youth who came from the champion team Tiny Herb? And that one's Mo Fan. Then Mo Fan was introduced, who Yi Shu merely pointed at and didn't bring Wu Chen over to greet. Wu Chen then understood that he was quite strange. When he glanced across, he saw Mo Fan turn around to look at him due to being called. Wu Chen nodded and greeted his hi, but that guy already turned his head to his previous position. What a strange person, Wu Chen mentally thought, and temporarily forgot to ask about the Yichu matter. There's two more too, and Wen Yi and Luo Ji. There are Cleric, Little Cold Hands, and our Summoner, Concealed Light. Both are university students, so they're not currently living with us, Yi Shu said. Soon after eliminating Team Everlasting, and Wen Yi returned to his school. After all, it wouldn't be right to be absent from school for a long time. Everyone had been introduced, but Yi Shu's mouth ceased to stop. He continued by introducing Wu Chen's job. As for the guilds, even though our results from snatching wild bosses from high-end places like Heavenly Domain have been quite good, our basic foundation is still very, very poor. Among the normal servers, the only bit of power we have is in the 10th server. We've just begun in the Heavenly Domain, so the burden on your shoulders isn't light. What sort of useful advice do you have for opening up our phase as soon as possible? Since Yi Shu asked, Wu Chen could only follow by replying. I have a bunch of account cards with me. Account cards? Yi Shu was startled. From Team Everlasting, Wu Chen said. Oh, are they empty accounts whose equipment have been sold? Yi Shu guessed. Some are, some aren't, Wu Chen said. For example, we have an account card for each of the 10 servers, Wu Chen added. The guild leader accounts for Guild Everlasting. When he said so, Yi Shu was stunned for even longer. This opening phase was rather tyrannical. A batch of ready-made guilds were directly delivered into his hands. Something as wonderful as pie falling from the sky actually happened? Possessing these guild account cards was equivalent to possessing a batch of guilds. Furthermore, those were the guilds left over by a professional team, so their system was definitely fully complete. The main job Happy had to do was to exchange the guild members, so all of the members were supporters of Happy. Then, the guild could begin to operate proactively. Due to this, they were quite frustrated over having 10 guilds all at once. Who would they hand this over to be in charge of? For clubs, the status of every normal server's guild leaders weren't low at all. After all, the normal servers would also export large amounts of original materials for the team. Especially for the fact that Heavenly Domain didn't have any materials below level 55. Some were only produced in the normal servers. There's also 2 guild leader account cards for the Heavenly Domain, Wu Chen continued to add to Happy's frustrations. But no matter how one looked at it, those frustrations were blessings. When Yi Shu recovered his senses, Chen Guo had already figured out what wonderful things Wu Chen had brought along, but because those things were of such high value, it seemed neither suitable nor realistic to accept them easily. Chen Guo still asked with caution, "Are these all for us to use? How about telling me about the Yichu matter, God Yichu?" Wu Chen finally managed to bring this topic back to light. Sigh, you really are. Alright. To put it simply, Yi Chu is fake, and Yi Shu is my actual identity. Do you understand now? Yi Shu said. It was finally Wu Chen's turn to be stunned. Even though the words were few, but the information was too great. How many secrets or details were involved in this? Wu Chen didn't know if it was suitable for him to keep asking. But because of this, he at least knew that there was no violation in the rules for Yi Shu or Yi Chu to control Lord Grimm. Even though there was the suspicion of him finding a loophole in the rule, Happy had Yi Chu, a strong presence indeed. Even if he directly used Yi Chu's name to sign up, it wouldn't have violated any of the rules. So there was no point in finding a reason for Team Everlasting's loss in this aspect. In addition, Everlasting had already been disbanded for good. Wu Chen was no longer troubled over this matter, so he returned to the problem of bringing so many account cards. Wu Chen didn't speak. Instead, he opened his luggage and seriously brought out the 2 card containers labeled with the words Ever and Lasting. Inside those 2 card containers was everything that Everlasting had left. They were finally able to find its final home. Chen Guo grew nervous because she already realized what Wu Chen was about to do. She looked on as Wu Chen placed the 2 card containers before them. Let Happy continue to grow stronger. When Wu Chen spoke those words, his gaze stopped on the card containers. It stopped upon the words on the container. Chen Guo was able to somewhat understand Wu Chen's mood. This was some kind of entrustment for Team Everlasting's incomplete ideals. Chen Guo didn't receive the 2 containers, instead, she pushed them in the opposite direction, so they were returned to Wu Chen. Let's continue to make happy grow stronger. Wu Chen was stunned. It appeared that he didn't expect her to say and do such things. He was baffled and a bit moved. Yes, let us, together. When Wu Chen spoke those words, he felt as if he went back a few years in time. At that time, he and his friends had built Team Everlasting under the matching support of Everlasting's boss. During the very summer that year, they also said the same thing, let's grow stronger together. Wu Chen wouldn't have thought that, on that day and moment, he would once again work hard to strive for these words with another group of people. Everything was expressed in the lack of words, unnecessary declarations were no longer needed. We are still in short of manpower, so everyone will have to work hard. What Yi Shu said was quite factual. Haha, this kind of hard work is better than being poor and blank. Wu Chen had the experience of building a team from scratch, so he was extremely positive towards the current condition. Well said, one can just tell by the looks that Comrade Wu Chen is very trustworthy. According to the rules of Challenger League, even though Team Everlasting has been eliminated, their players have one more chance to register. Before the next round, you will register for the application to become one of the members of Team Happy, right? Yi Shu said. Oh sure. I can. Wu Chen was slightly lost in thought, but still nodded and agreed. His skills were more than enough to deal with a majority of the opponents in the Challenger League. Even though his character Dawn Rifle was almost an empty account, with his skill, he could bully his opponents without needing to rely on equipment. Then there will be 2 launchers on the team. Wu Chen didn't forget Chasing Haze's existence. There's going to be an even better one in the future, Chen Guo smiled. Oh, who? Wu Chen doubted. Chen Guo looked at Yi Shu, who replied without the slightest hesitation. Dancing Rain. Chapter 853. To do more than what's required. Dancing Rain. Wu Chen was deeply astonished. Let alone a grassroots internet cafe team, even when Team Everlasting had been doing well in the pro scene, they didn't even dare to hope to obtain an all-star character of that level. Wu Chen only had one thought in his mind right now, regarding Team Happy as a grassroots internet cafe team was very wrong. Not only did everyone on the team have extraordinary backgrounds, just daring to think about getting Dancing Rain put them on a higher domain than Team Everlasting. Having observed Happy directly, Wu Chen finally relaxed. He soon began organizing the account cards that he had brought with him from Everlasting. Team Everlasting had already been officially disbanded. For many loyal supporters, the news broke their hearts. There were naturally quite a few of these kinds of players within Everlasting's guilds. When Wu Chen logged into these accounts one by one, several players had left messages for the guild leader. Wu Chen read these messages and couldn't help but let loose a regretful sigh. These loyal players still didn't know that although these guilds still held the name Everlasting, the name would never signify Everlasting anymore. Wu Chen didn't stay melancholy for too long. He logged onto these account cards for proper business. Soon, the 10 guilds in the normal servers, as well as the 2 guilds in the heavenly domain, for a total of 12 guilds with the name Everlasting, had a new announcement: Team Everlasting had disbanded. Guild Everlasting will be inherited by a new owner. The name will change, but the guild storage system will not. Everyone can continue playing the game with ease. Wu Chen was experienced. He didn't immediately get rid of every single guild member and look for Team Happy supporters. Because he understood the fundamental significance of a guild's existence, which was to utilize the strength of the guild members to contribute to the team. During the early stages of the guild, players might have contributed to support the team, but long-term contribution mainly relied on the guild storage system. As long as a reasonable guild storage existed, even if players in the guild did not support the team, the guild could still actively and effectively operate. Guild Everlasting had been an important part of the club and had operated for several years. The system was absolutely fair. The current guild members had completely accepted it. Under these circumstances, Wu Chen obviously had no need to forcefully remove players. However, in the end, Wu Chen also announced that the new owner of the guild would be Team Happy. Team Happy was the main reason for Team Everlasting's disbandment. In the eyes of Team Everlasting's loyal fans, this would obviously be extremely reprehensible. The guild was actually going to be handed over to their enemy. Numerous players would certainly have trouble accepting it, but Team Everlasting no longer existed, so it's not like the attitude of their former fans mattered. Wu Chen released the information because he didn't want to lie or cheat the loyal fans of Everlasting. Even though he knew that hiding this fact would save him a lot of trouble, the truth would have to be announced someday. When that time came, the players would have contributed a lot to Happy. Helping the enemy unknowingly would certainly hurt the players a lot more than telling them now. Wu Chen couldn't bear to hurt them like that, so he might as well release the information now. After announcing this reality, he allowed them to freely leave. As soon as the announcement came out, it played out as Wu Chen had expected. None of the other previous points mattered much, but once they saw that their new owner would be Team Happy, a huge commotion exploded. The loyal fans reminiscing Everlasting's demise instantly became furious. They could understand the team disbanding and selling off their property, but handing over the guild to the enemy was too heartless. It was an affront to their many years of support. They couldn't help but feel bitterly disappointed. At the heart of the struggle, Wu Chen firmly stood out. New information came out with another guild announcement. Wu Chen revealed his identity and admitted that he had joined Team Happy. In the end, he acknowledged that having the guild become a part of Happy was his own decision. It had nothing to do with Team Everlasting. This was more than what was required. Everlasting had already disbanded. Any slander to Everlasting's name didn't matter, but Wu Chen took the blows himself. Is this guy a masochist? This was Wei Chen's comment when he heard the news. Even Team Everlasting's boss contacted Wu Chen after hearing the news, telling him that this really hadn't been necessary. You still have a future. But Everlasting doesn't anymore. It's because Everlasting already has none anymore, Wu Chen replied. The boss sighed. Wu Chen's feelings towards Team Everlasting was even deeper than he had imagined. As the boss, his final actions were all business. His conduct when he decided to disband the team had been extremely callous. How could he not understand the feelings of the fans? But in the end, he didn't care anymore. To put it more cruelly, since he had decided not to step into the glory scene again, the fans no longer had any value to him. He might not care, but some did. Even if Everlasting no longer existed, Wu Chen still wasn't willing to slander Everlasting's name. The boss couldn't say anything more. At this moment, he felt ashamed to face Wu Chen despite leaving many valuable things for his loyal friend. In terms of materialistic goods, he had done a good job, but in terms of spirit, he had been thrown to the streets by Wu Chen. Wu Chen truly loved glory and Everlasting. And he had only been a businessman chasing after money. The rebellion incited by Wu Chen's announcement didn't need to be said. That day, numerous players from all of the Everlasting guilds vented their anger and decisively left the guild. The words said the most were that they had made an error in judgment. They would not be a supporter of the new owner that Wu Chen ran to. Only a few players realized, if Wu Chen truly hadn't cared about them, wouldn't not saying a word be better? Wu Chen had to spend a lot more time and effort to organize these guilds because of this unnecessary announcement. The 12 Everlasting guilds had begun recruiting under Happy's name. Even though the amount of attention that Happy received wasn't low, there were still very few loyal fans. This was because the players attracted to Happy's name couldn't compare to the players who were attracted to a max-level guild and a fair guild storage like Everlasting's. Even so, Guild Everlasting belonging to Guild Happy still made many uneasy. This was a huge step from a grassroots team to a professional team. No one understood the significance of a guild's influence expanding rapidly better than those within the circle. After Chen Yahui confirmed the news, he practically ran looking for manager Kui Li. Are we just going to allow them keep growing? After Chen Yahui summarized the report, he began describing his thoughts. Because of the Challenger League tournament format, we have no way of knowing when we'll encounter Team Happy, but there's one indisputable reality: the later we meet them, the more disadvantageous it is for us. They still have a lot of room to improve, but we're already at our peak, so our room for improvement is fairly small. If we look at it from this perspective, the gap between them and us is constantly closing. When our team finally meets theirs, who know how things will turn out. Are you suspecting that Team Happy is actually a threat to us? Kui Li said. Happy is a threat. Excellent Era did not deny this point. However, their worries hadn't been towards Happy, but Yi Chu. To Excellent Era, Happy was a threat because of Yi Chu's existence. It was because they understood Yi Chu's capabilities all too well. If not, they wouldn't have forced Yi Chu to retire. They were already worried about Yi Chu in an internet cafe team, let alone if Yi Chu had gone to Blue Rain, Tiny Herb, Samsara. If they couldn't use him, they needed to destroy him. Yi Chu's strength frightened Excellent Era. But now, Chen Yahui looked to discuss matters with Kui Li, not just for Yi Chu alone, but the entire team Happy and the threat that Happy as a whole posed to them. From Happy's development, this isn't a groundless fear. Chen Yahui continued, in the heavenly domain, Happy hold the advantage in wild boss hunting. In one night, they now have several guilds under them. They'll soon have a good amount of low-end materials. Along with Yi Chu and the old god Wei Chen, how fast will their equipment improve? I dare to bet that the later we encounter Team Happy, the more silver equipment they will have. Even if they won't be able to have 3 all-star level characters, we at least won't have an overwhelming advantage against them. Kui Li fell into silence after listening to his words. For a moment, he didn't say anything. There's also one more point, Chen Yahui continued. What is it? Kui Li asked. When we fight against Happy, do you dare to let Su Mucheng on stage? Chen Yahui asked. Kui Li was surprised. It was the responsibility of the team captain to choose which players went on stage, but higher-ups like the boss or manager could influence the captain's decision. Whether or not to let Su Mucheng face Happy was something they could easily reach an agreement on. Su Mucheng's professionalism could not be picked at. After Yi Chu was forced out last season, not only was Su Mucheng not in a bad mood, but she worked even harder on stage and was even more imposing than she had been in the past. However, against Yi Chu? Would Su Mucheng still act professionally? Chen Yahui was clearly doubtful. Kui Li also had a big question mark towards this question. This was truly concerning. If Su Mucheng didn't go on stage, it would mean losing an all-star player. If they allowed Su Mucheng go on stage, if she didn't take responsibility, it would mean losing a player, which would be even worse than losing an all-star. This was truly a big issue. Kui Li could feel his head begin to hurt. It seems like ever since Yi Chu left Excellent Era, he would often have headaches. Chapter 854. 2.5 months. Then what are you trying to say? With such a headache, Kui Li asked for Chen Yahui's opinion. He obviously knew that when they had forced Yi Chu out, Chen Yahui spared no efforts to be at the front line. I don't think we should let Happy grow freely. We have to suppress them, Chen Yahui said. Are you talking about in the game? Kui Li said. That wasn't hard to guess. The players on Happy would undoubtedly keep improving. They couldn't do anything about that. The only thing that they could do was strike at the competition between guilds. This was also the main point of contention outside of the pro scene. The competition for wild bosses and dungeon records had lasted since the even before the alliance. In the beginning, it had been especially intense because in those days, the various teams didn't have anyone in particular responsible for the guild. The pro players directly charged into battle, so the level of competition back then was actually even higher than nowadays. Yes, Happy urgently needs to improve their equipment. If we can make obtaining materials more difficult for them, then that would naturally inhibit their growth, Chen Yahui said. Just tell me the important points. Kui Li was starting to get impatient at how Chen Yahui was beating around the bush. Chen Yahui didn't need to look for him. As the person responsible for the guild, Chen Yahui could arrange for all of their guilds to move against Happy. If he had come to look for Kui Li, he must need the club's support for something. The majority of our opponents this season are weak. Our players don't need to go all out to face them. So what I'm thinking is if we can arrange for some of the pro players to participate in guild affairs, not only would this be an effective way to strike Happy, but it would also help us accumulate materials for our return to the Alliance next season. Chen Yahui finally revealed his purpose for being here. It was an old habit of his to look forward to others helping him. You'll have to give me some time to make a decision. Even though Kui Li was the manager, he couldn't directly make such a big decision. In the current contract, the pro players didn't need to assume any such responsibilities. Pro players could participate in these matters to help the team, but because it wasn't required, the most they could do is hope that they would. As for Excellent Era, it was even embarrassing to ask their players of this request. As a relegated team, being able to keep the majority of the main roster and even bringing in the all-star Xiao Shiken and his character Life Extinguisher was mainly because of their 100% confidence in clearing the Challenger League, but now in order to ensure their victory in the Challenger League, they needed to beg their pro players to participate in the in-game competitions. When they asked for players to stay or recruited new players, it would appear like they had no confidence. Making the players not feel confident in the club wasn't a good thing. Perhaps Chen Yahui hadn't thought about this, but as the manager in charge of recruiting and maintaining players, he immediately realized this issue. Chen Yahui also saw Kui Li's hesitation. Afterwards, he added, "Right now, the reason that Happy and their alliance have such a major advantage in the heavenly domain is because Yi Chu is frequently playing in the game. Our guilds have trouble contesting against them with just our level of strength." As soon as he said this, Kui Li couldn't help but look at Chen Yahui. He was starting to feel doubtful at whether or not this guy was actually worried about Happy expanding or because he was looking for an excuse for the guild's poor performance. "I really don't need that many players. As long as a strategist like Vice Captain Xiao can help us out every once in a while, that would be enough to make things difficult for Yi Chu," Chen Yahui said. Kui Li nodded his head. After being in touch with Xiao Shiken for a while, Kui Li felt like Xiao Shiken was someone who looked at the big picture. If he explained this situation clearly to him, he felt like Xiao Shiken wouldn't feel dissatisfied with the team. However, having Xiao Shiken frequently run to the game definitely wouldn't work. "Gather more information. When it becomes necessary, I'll contact the team to consider it." Kui Li finally gave Chen Yahui an answer that was neither an approval nor a refusal. Chen Yahui understood the division of labor in the club. He was satisfied with this response. After nodding his head, he left. At Team Happy, with Wu Chen's addition, the guild and team stepped onto a new stage. Wu Chen's launcher, Dawn Rifle, was soon fully equipped. Even though he only wore a set of orange equipment, with Wu Chen's skill level, he could easily sweep through a majority of the Challenger League. The addition of such a skilled expert made Happy's journey through the Challenger League go even more smoothly. The maturation of the guild had to be mentioned. After this type of mechanism was established, everything could be conducted routinely. The manager didn't need to closely keep an eye on them all day and all night. This would only allow for it to continue operating normally though. For wild boss hunts, the manager often needed to be there. As a result, the current wild boss situation in the normal servers had yet to be opened up by the everlasting guilds belonging to Happy. In the heavenly domain, Yishu's side of the alliance no longer just consisted of him and his pitifully small group. An elite group was formed according to the classes and equipment of the newly joined players and old players of their guild. However, Happy's home guild was still in the 10th server. Yishu's Lord Grim had become famous there. Guild Happy had also been created there. From Lord Grim getting hundreds of answers with a single call to Lord Grim leaving to the heavenly domain to Chen Guo personally managing it and establishing the guild storage, the 10th server Guild Happy had also walked a healthy path towards development. Compared to the other club guilds, their strength might be slightly weaker, but they were definitely above normal player guilds. 7 Fields, Sleeping Moon, 1000 Creations. These players who had become friends with Yishu in the 10th server now made up the core of Guild Happy. Ever since they left the heavenly domain to start in the new server, they didn't plan on returning to the heavenly domain. Old players starting over in the new server mostly did it to acquire a certain advantage over the others with their greater experience, but because of how the heavenly domain was set up, their advantage in the new server would disappear as soon as they entered the heavenly domain. And now with the addition of Guild Everlasting in the 10th server, Happy's strength increased even further. 7 Fields group had already begun arranging teams. After a bit more preparation, they would actively compete for wild bosses. These few formerly heavenly domain players had just been run-of-the-mill players in a mid-sized player guild like Full Moon Guild. Now they were rulers in the 10th server, leading other top players around in the 10th server. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, 2.5 months of Season 9 passed by. 5.5 rounds of the Challenger League had been finished. Over 10,000 teams had joined the league. After every round, the numbers would be reduced by half. Now only a few hundred teams remained. In the alliance, 11 rounds had finished. The new season's ranking advanced one step further. Those threatening new teams and new players at the beginning of the season all received setbacks to different extents. For the new players, Team Blue Rain's Lu Hanwen was the representative. His recent performance was no longer as sharp as it had been before. The various top teams had begun studying him and had come up with strategies in order to deal with him. What was remarkable was that, although Lu Hanwen's breakout performance had been suppressed, the spirit of this youngest player in the Alliance's history was the same as ever. He never expressed a crestfallen expression. In the 11th round of the season, Blue Rain and Tiny Herb fought against each other. Lu Hanwen was the deciding factor. His early death led to Team Blue Rain losing in the team competition. However, no one blamed Lu Hanwen for this loss because his death had been because he had to face Team Tiny Herb's god Wang Jiexi and talented Gao Yingji alone. This season, Team Tiny Herb's dual witches had become the new highlight of the alliance. Let alone a rook like Lu Hanwen, even the gods still hadn't figured out how to deal with this new dual-class playstyle. In the press conference, reporters who liked Lu Hanwen planned on using this point to console Lu Hanwen, so he wouldn't feel too bad, but those who harbored evil intentions spoke first and naturally asked about his feelings towards Lu Hanwen, leading to the team's loss in the match. Lu Hanwen didn't appear dejected at all. He replied to the question seriously, "I feel like for something like this, it's because I'm just not good enough, so I wasn't able to win more time. Also, Senior Shaoshan was a bit too far away and wasn't able to rescue me immediately. Also, F***CK, you little demon, you actually dare to blame me? Don't you know that at that time, I was carrying out our actual plan? But the other side saw through our intentions and even found a gap in our pathing. You getting killed instantly like that was too ugly to look at. Even if you add up the ages of all of your opponents Wang Jiexi and Gao Yingji, the sum is only 3 times your age. You shouldn't have died so quickly. Next time, remember that as long as you can give me an opportunity to launch a sneak attack, we'll turn the situation around." Quote. Before Lu Hanwen could even finish his reply, Huang Shaoshan interrupted him and started chattering away. From what Senior is saying, could it be that our plan had a problem? Lu Hanwen said. What? When did I say that? Even though Huang Shaoshan said that, the two had already turned their heads to look at their captain, Yu Wenzhou. Ahem, Yu Wenzhou coughed. Let's just leave our answer at that. The reporters looked at one another. It sounded like the players were pushing the blame onto each other. But if they wrote this, wouldn't it be treated as a joke? All of the reporters had this type of feeling. Chapter 855. Heavy news. Anyone with eyes could see that, in this loss for Blue Rain, Yu Wenzhou's tactics were very reasonable, and Huang Shaoshan's Blademaster, as always, waited patiently for an opportunity to attack. It was Lu Hanwen's flowing clouds that had been overeager to engage. He had said Huang Shaoshan's troubling rain was too far from him, becoming a little out of sync, but the reason for this lack of synchronization was because his flowing clouds had ran off too quickly. He failed to coordinate with the rest of the team. A veteran like Wang Jiexi wouldn't not notice this mistake. Tiny Herb immediately came on with a sudden wave of attacks. 3 people went to cut off any reinforcements while the 2 witches, Baccaria and Kindtree, mounted a vicious offense. Blue Rain was just a tad too slow, resulting in Lu Hanwen getting wiped out by this wave of attacks. They fell into a passive role, and eventually lost the fight. In the end, at the post-match press conference, Team Blue Rain didn't take the mistake seriously at all, jokingly pushing the blame around. The mistake that caused their loss was just vaguely touched upon before being passed over. This was one of the ways they would protect Lu Hanwen, but it was also something that showed how big the heart of the youngest member of the alliance had. Even Team Tiny Herb's Wang Jiexi didn't mention the mistake Lu Hanwen made in the press conference, but instead praised his composure afterwards, openly declaring that this was something all pro gamers could learn from him. Even at Happy, Lu Hanwen became an exemplar to learn from. It seems that the old are losing to the young in keeping their composure asterisk. It was only after seeing Wang Jiexie's praise for Lu Hanwen that Yi Shu started to lament loudly. "You bastard, who are you talking about, huh?" The words instantly provoked someone to jump up ready to fight. Wei Chen, of course it was him that Yi Shu was referring to, because he had been rather touchy recently. It was because of none other than the fact that they were already in their 5th round of the Challenger League. There were only 800 teams left. After this point, there would only be 400. Happy and Excellent Era were, of course, still within these 400, and the chances of them meeting now was far higher than it had been back when there were more than 10,000 teams. So, Wei Chen became uneasy. For Happy, it was too early in the game for them to face Excellent Era. Seeing how composed the 14-year-old Lu Hanwen was, Yi Shu wouldn't miss such a great chance to poke fun at Wei Chen. This was especially effective, too. After jumping up in a rage when realizing who Yi Shu was talking about, he immediately decided that he couldn't lose to this youngster who was his junior. With an expression like gathering storm clouds, he sat down on one side to compose his emotions. Lu Hanwen's mental fortitude became something people admired even more than his technical skill. More and more people were admitting that he really was an impressive kid. Another who had hit the rookie's block hard like Lu Hanwen was Team Wind Howl. It wasn't a certain person who had hit a block, but rather their entire team. They might have taken a strong lead in the beginning of the season, but starting from the 8th round, their scores began to fluctuate. After getting their then lowest score of 4 points in the 8th round, they managed to score a measly 2 points for the 9th and 10th rounds. As for the 11th round, they only managed to earn 5 points. Tang Hao was without a doubt a god-level player. In the early stages of assimilating into this team that revolved around a brawler, the results had been very impressive. However, after several rounds, some of the problems in their teamwork gradually began to show, and the experienced powerhouses easily began to step on this tail that they had managed to grab. Team Wind Howl was unable to adjust within these 4 rounds, instantly slipping from the upper echelons of the ranking ladder. Under the same circumstances, the Veterans of Glory managed to become a shining exemplar for everyone in their line of work. Team Tyranny, round after round of stable point earning, stood at the top of the rankings. Also having new team members and a new team, Team Tyranny seemed to have no problems getting used to it. After 11 rounds, what everyone was talking about was no longer if Tyranny could manage to keep their place, but if their good, stable performance could break the record that Team Excellent Era had set in the second season with a total of 314 points, and an average of 8.26 points per match, in the regular season. Currently with 97 points in 11 rounds, Team Tyranny's chances of beating this record seemed good. As for Team 100 Blossoms, who also had quite a few eyes on them, finally managed to reach the sweet moment after bitter defeat. After a disappointing beginning, they finally managed to find their feet. The new Blossom duo slowly matured, especially Zhou Yuan. Handling his new Spitfire character Blooming Blossoms, he managed to enter a peak state of performance. This made people think Zhou Yuan's use of the god-level account Dazzling 100 Blossoms after Zhang Zhao's retirement wasn't such a fruitless decision. After obtaining a character tailored to his own style, Zhou Yuan's performance improved with each passing day. With him, Team 100 Blossoms also managed to struggle out of the swamp of relegation, steadily climbing up in the ranks. Speaking of that, there was another team that had been continuously at the bottom that had to be mentioned, Heavenly Swords. Heavenly Swords was in the same situation as Happy. With thinner foundations, their strength was unimpressive, but it also meant that they had plenty of room for improvement. With Lu Guaning taking a hold of Everlasting's assets, Team Heavenly Swords' strength improved by leaps and bounds. The original 20 pieces of silver equipment had increased to 41. Though many of them didn't really match, or would even be better for a different class, everything that could improve their character's strength was equipped. In addition, their research team that Yi Shu wasn't even familiar with was obviously putting in a lot more effort into the development of silver equipment. In every round, it seemed that the characters of Heavenly Swords had different equipment on. With the continuous improvement of their strength, their scores were also seeing an improvement. In the 11th round, which had just finished, Team Heavenly Swords received 301 degrees on their home field and managed to take a 7-3 victory. This was the first time they managed to gain over half the points in a round, and stepped out of the relegation zone. Their opponent in that round was Team 301 degrees, which was a mid-tier team with a fairly stable performance. Occasionally, they would even step foot into the playoffs for a quick while. However, after their night player, Xu Bin, left during the summer, their performance had been constantly slipping. The all-star assassin, Captain Yang Kong, seemed to be having trouble keeping the team afloat on his own. With a passive and inelegant style, Xu Bin, who had held the title of Grind King, never had much popularity even among the fans of his own team. It was only after his departure that his importance became evident. However, it was too late for the fans to regret now. Xu Bin's talent was fully being utilized in Tiny Herb now, having accepted the All-Star Night account Angelica. The success of Tiny Herb's double witch tactic was in large part assured by Xu Bin's efforts. All the drama happening in the 9th season made the Glory fans very happy. Yet after the 18th of November, the Monday of the next week, Glory officially announced another oncoming change that shook the entire Glory circle. This year's anniversary of Glory's launch would, as always, signify the opening of a new server, the 11th one, but there would also be a massive update added to the game. The level limits, that had not been touched in 3 years, was going to be increased to level 75. There would be new stories, new skills, new equipment, and even new maps. For those who enjoyed the online game, this was amazing news. However, for those currently in the Pro League, this huge change would bring about unpredictable consequences. The already rather lively 9th season would become even more confusing. For the characters in pro teams, increasing their level to 75 wasn't a problem at all. However, the changes in stats, skills, and equipment would lead to huge adjustments in strategy and playstyles. This would need to be figured out as they continue to play. The seemingly stable situation of the 9th season might collapse into chaos once more. Pro teams, of course, didn't like these sorts of changes. However, since Glory's competitive scene was inseparable from the online game, they couldn't escape such changes. However, it was a little too disgusting that they would implement these adjustments, not in the summer holidays, but a third of the way through the regular season. Between matches, they not only had to rush to level up, but also had to research and test out new skills and new equipment. If they were a little slow about it, then they might be left behind in the competitive scene. This season was fated to be a very busy one. Even so, the experienced veterans weren't unfamiliar with this situation. Glory had only stopped quite long at level 70, but the updates from level 50, 55, 60, 65, and then 70 came one after another. The Pro League was only in its 9th season. Of the 8 seasons prior, 3 years had been at level 70, and the 5 years before that experienced an annual period of chaos with each new update. After the notice of the newest update came out, the veterans, who had been fighting since that era, all reminisced about those wild years. Glory may have stopped at level 70 for the past 3 years, but who would believe that it wouldn't renew its limits? So, even though there hadn't been an update after hitting level 70 until now, all the pro teams had long since been preparing for this moment. At the very least, they had to stock up on all sorts of materials for silver equipment. As soon as the level 75 update came out, they immediately began researching new materials and charged over to level up their silver equipment. Following the announcement of the update, the Alliance also made an announcement. On the week of the update, the 14th round of the league would be delayed by a week. This was, of course, to prepare for the update and to allow all the pro teams extra time to adjust. At the same time, the Challenger League would also pause for a week. And it was this notice that made storm clouds gather once more over the now clear skies above Wei Chen's head. It was apparent that this wasn't a good thing for Happy. Team Excellent Era had long since made preparations for an update like this, and had stocked up on materials over the years, but Team Happy didn't. All of Happy's material were carefully and specifically obtained by Yi Shu. They couldn't afford the cost in materials from failure. Under this circumstance, Happy couldn't afford to charge into the unknown that was level 75.